Cheers Mateus, and welcome to the first reading of Labeled Love, my first book baby, which I published in 2014. And I'm happy that you're here. And I do this as a YouTube premiere, and bear with me, it's the first time that I'm doing this. So hopefully, if everything goes well, I will be able to answer your questions in the chat box. So fingers crossed that it's gonna work. And I invite you to this book reading for several reasons. But first of all, let me tell you, this is a bilingual party. So everything I say now in English, I'm gonna say in German again. But the reading itself will be in English, as the book is written in English and only available in English. So take your tea or coffee or whatever. You get a little pause now. I'm gonna say the same thing in German right now. Hallo meine Lieben und willkommen zur ersten Lesung von Labeled Love, meinem allerersten Buch Baby, was ich in 2014 publiziert habe. Ich habe euch aus verschiedenen Gründen zu dieser Buchlesung eingeladen, dazu sage ich auch gleich noch was. Als allererstes aber, das ist eine zweisprachige Party hier, also sage ich immer erst einmal was auf Englisch, dann auf Deutsch. Ich habe das Ganze hier als YouTube-Premiere gestaltet. Bitte seid geduldig mit mir, das ist das erste Mal, dass ich das mache, aber wenn alles funktioniert, dann kann ich eure Fragen in der Chatbox, da oder da, beantworten. Ihr könnt mir die Fragen gerne auf Englisch oder auf Deutsch stellen. Finger gekreuzt oder auch Daumen gedrückt, dass es alles funktioniert. Ja, also werde ich das immer erst einmal auf Englisch, einmal auf Deutsch sagen. Die Lesung selber wird allerdings auf Englisch sein, weil das Buch in Englisch geschrieben ist und auch nur in englischer Sprache erhältlich ist. Nehmt euch also einen Kaffee oder einen Tee und immer, wenn ich in die andere Sprache switche, dann habt ihr einen Moment Zeit, euch eine Pause zu gönnen und ja, dann geht's weiter. Ich gehe jetzt wieder zurück zu Englisch. So, one of the reasons why I would love to read a little bit from the book to you is, first of all, it seems like nobody knows that I published a book, because sometimes people are like, what? You always say you're working on your second book? Means you have a first book? I'm like, yeah. Oh, did you publish that recently? No, actually 6 years ago. Because to be honest, my marketing skills were back then, and marketing the book was not my first priority. My first priority was to get it published, and I published via self-publishing, so most of the things I did by myself. So it's print on demand. You can buy it on Amazon as a Kindle version or as this beautiful paperback. I don't know why, but the texture is really nice. It's really nice touching this book, and as said, most things I did myself. I had a proofreader, thanks again, Bonnie. And this lovely cover design was done by Anna Mölliken. Anna, I still love you for that so much, and I still appreciate it. Every time I see it, it lifts up my heart. I think it's really beautiful, and yeah, I love this book. It's my first baby. You know, firstborns are always loved differently, isn't it? And yeah, so first of all, nobody knows that this book exists, and I think it deserves some attention because it's a beautiful book. That's one reason. The other reason is on my birthday in April, I started a donation thing in connection with this book. Due to the corona crisis, I would love to help animal shelters because they depend highly on donations, and right now they're receiving less donations while taking care of more animals because they take care of the animals from corona patients. So that's why all my royalties, so everything I earn from the book, will directly go to charity, so to the animal shelters, a local animal shelter here in my home area. So I would love if you want to support and you want to read it anyway, maybe after you heard a little bit about it. But I extended this donation special until the 10th of May, which is the German Mother's Day. So if you still know someone who would be happy to have a book like this one, please share the message as well, so that we can raise as much money as possible to help those in need. I'm going to switch over to German again. Take your time. So, auch nochmal auf Deutsch. Zum einen würde ich ganz gerne hieraus vorlesen, weil anscheinend niemand weiß, dass ich ein Buch publiziert habe. Ja, es ist immer, wenn ich sage, ja, ich arbeite gerade an meinem zweiten Buch. Das heißt, es gibt ein erstes. Ja, okay, hast du das erst kürzlich veröffentlicht? Nein, vor 6 Jahren. Aber ja, meine Marketingfähigkeiten waren damals unter der Grasnarbe. Das zu vermarkten war aber auch nicht meine erste Priorität, muss ich sagen. Meine erste Priorität war, es zu veröffentlichen, und das meiste davon habe ich tatsächlich selbst gemacht. Also ich hatte einen Lektor und danke Barney. Und dieses wundervolle Coverdesign hat Anne Mölleken gestaltet. Und ich liebe das nach wie vor. Anne, ich liebe dich immer noch dafür. Über die Maßen, bis zum Mond und zurück und 3-mal um die Erde. Jedes Mal, wenn ich es anschaue, freue ich mir einen Ast ab. Es ist selbst publiziert, also durch Self-Publishing. Ihr könnt es auf Amazon kaufen als Kindle-Version oder eben als diese wundervolle Softcover-Version. Ich weiß nicht warum, aber die Oberfläche fühlt sich irgendwie auch total toll an. Also es ist auch haptisch gesehen ein schönes Buch. Ja, zum einen würde ich ganz gerne daraus vorlesen, damit ihr einen Eindruck bekommt, was das eigentlich ist, was ich da so veranstaltet habe. Zum anderen hatte ich ja zu meinem Geburtstag eine Spendenaktion gestartet, weil aufgrund der Corona-Krise würde ich ganz gerne dem lokalen Tierheim helfen, weil die ganz, ganz stark von Spenden abhängig sind und momentan zu wenige erhalten, gleichzeitig aber mehr Tiere aufnehmen, weil sie nämlich auch die Tiere von Corona-Patienten aufnehmen. Und diese Aktion habe ich jetzt verlängert bis zum 10. Mai, bis zum Muttertag. Also wenn ihr jemanden kennt, der dieses Buch vielleicht noch gerne lesen wollen würde, oder nachdem ihr jetzt einen kleinen Einblick bekommen habt, sagt ihr, Mensch, das besorge ich mir jetzt, dann tut ihr direkt was Gutes damit, denn alles, was ich an diesem Buch verdiene, geht direkt an das Tierheim. Und ich würde mich halt freuen, wenn ihr das auch teilt und so ein bisschen an andere Leute weiterleitet, denn je mehr zusammenkommt, desto mehr können wir gemeinsam spenden. So, ich wechsle mal wieder einmal zu Englisch rüber. Trinkt euren Kaffee, nehmt euch Zeit. So back to English. So I don't want to say too much about the book, to be honest, because I think the text should speak for itself. But I would love to say something about the structure of the book. So it was published in 2014, and it consists of short texts. So just prose, and it's all short texts. You can read them all individually, or chronologically, or from back to front, it doesn't matter. So every text itself is complete in itself. But if you read it from the beginning to the end in a chronological manner, you get an impression of the female protagonist and her male counterpart. They're written from different narrative perspectives. So sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it's the protagonist herself speaking, sometimes it's an omniscient narrator, sometimes it's a stranger. And there's a specific reason why I chose this style, because I wanted to create something that is close to life. And if you think about how you meet and encounter new people, I think it's exactly that. You go to a party and you meet someone, you have a conversation about certain topics, and you get an impression of that person, and then your ways separate, and maybe you talk to the host of the party about this person that you just met. So that's another piece of information that you get. And maybe then you meet them 3 months later at an event, you meet again, you talk again. And through all these information, first-hand, second-hand, third-hand information, you somehow have all the puzzle pieces to form the picture of the person that you then end up having. And that's why I decided to do the structure in that manner, because I think it's very close to life, and that was important to me. So I'm going to say the same thing in German. Take a sip of your tea and relax. So, auch nochmal auf Deutsch. Ich möchte gar nicht zu viel über das Buch selber erzählen, denn ich denke, die Geschichten sollten für sich sprechen. Ich würde aber ganz gerne was zur Struktur sagen. Also zum einen, es ist halt 2014 publiziert worden und das sind alles kurze Texte, also alles Prosa, das sind Kurztexte und jeder Text steht für sich alleine. Also jeder Text ist in sich geschlossen und rund. Das heißt, ihr könnt die alle durcheinander lesen, ihr könnt die chronologisch von Anfang bis Ende lesen, ihr könnt die vom Ende zum Anfang lesen. Das spielt an sich keine Rolle, denn jeder Text kann für sich stehen. Wenn ihr allerdings von Anfang bis Ende chronologisch durchlest, dann lernt ihr quasi die weibliche Protagonistin und ihr männliches Gegenüber quasi kennen. Und es gibt auch einen Grund, warum ich das so gestaltet habe. Ich wollte gerne ein Buch gestalten, was nah am Leben ist sozusagen. Und wenn ihr euch überlegt, wie ihr neue Leute kennenlernt, dann finde ich, ist es genau das. Also ihr geht auf eine Party, ihr lernt jemanden kennen, ihr unterhaltet euch über bestimmte Themen und ihr kriegt ja einen Eindruck von dieser Person und dann gehen eure Wege auseinander und vielleicht unterhaltet ihr euch mit dem Gastgeber über diese Person. Dadurch erlangt ihr neue Informationen. Dann trefft ihr vielleicht bei irgendeiner anderen Veranstaltung, 3 Monate später trefft ihr die Person wieder, ihr redet über was anderes. Und durch diese ganze Ansammlung von Informationen, entweder aus erster Hand, aus zweiter Hand, aus dritter Hand, formiert ihr euch quasi so das Puzzle, was dann im Endeffekt das Bild formt, was ihr von dieser Person habt. Und ich wollte halt gerne ein Buch gestalten, was dem nahe kommt, weil ich es nah am Leben haben wollte. Und ja, ich hoffe, dass es gelungen ist. So, einmal wieder auf Englisch. So, as said, I don't want to say too much about the book itself. I hope that gives you an impression about the structure, and I would like to switch over to the reading. So as I said, I want to let the texts speak for themselves. If you are interested in what I'm working on right now, after the reading I will give a tiny bit of information, not to spoil, but to say a little bit about the book I'm working on right now, because this is going to be published hopefully very soon. Fingers crossed that everything is running well. You don't know in these times, but yeah. So after the reading of my first book, Baby, I would love to tell you something about my second book, Baby. So stay here if you like to. If you have specific questions right now, please enter them in the chat box, and hopefully everything will work. I cannot guarantee, but yeah. So before I switch over to the reading, I'm going to say the same thing in German and then I'm going to start with the reading. So, auch nochmal auf Deutsch. Wie gesagt, ich möchte gar nicht zu sehr ins Detail gehen über dieses Buch. Ich lasse die Geschichten gleich für sich selber sprechen. Wenn ihr aber dran bleibt nach der Lesung, sage ich auch noch mal was zu dem Buch, an dem ich jetzt gerade arbeite. Also nachdem ich dann aus meinem ersten Buch Baby vorgelesen habe, sage ich auch noch was zu dem zweiten, an dem ich jetzt gerade arbeite, was hoffentlich sehr bald veröffentlicht wird. Wieder Daumen gedrückt, man weiß es nicht in diesen Zeiten, da kann einiges drunter und drüber gehen. Es wird aber dieses Jahr veröffentlicht und hoffentlich sehr bald sogar. Und ich werde nicht zu viel verraten, aber falls euch das interessiert, woran ich jetzt gerade arbeite, bleibt gerne dran. Ich fange jetzt gleich mit der Lesung an und wie gesagt, die wird halt komplett auf Englisch sein. Ja, also ein letzter Schluck Tee oder in meinem Fall auch ein Schluck Wasser. Und dann starten wir mal. So I'm gonna start with a blurb. Love becomes a lost lullaby when we label it like lipstick. The history of love is long and old. People have been loving each other over the past centuries, and they will continue to discover love. So love stories are old. But we are new souls, and the connection the universe or destiny has pushed us in has not existed before. So a love story might be old, but this love story is new. Rosie's quest to follow her heart is a sequence of snapshots that reveal her journey through inner conflict, deep connection and struggle, while trying to get closer and live up to what she found to be the only truth she knows: love. This is not just another love story. This is a story about love. So that was the blurb. You can also see that in Amazon, so if you ever checked it out, you already knew that. And I thought about, I would love to read the intro to you and the first chapter, then another chapter, just to give you an impression of what kind of texts this book contains. And last but not least, I'm going to read the shortest text in the whole book to you. So let's start with the intro. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. A blue book. Some stories might seem quite familiar or old to you, others new. Some of them I wrote a while ago, others just recently. But on a more abstract level, the history of love is long and old. People have loved each other during the past centuries, and they will continue to discover love. So love stories are old. But we are new souls, and the connection the universe or destiny has pushed us in has not existed before. So a love story might be old, but this love story is new. If we take into consideration what the Indians once said, we don't own the earth, we just borrowed it from our children, we might well apply that to love, and every love story can be regarded as borrowed from the universe, as one day we might have to give it back. Whether it be old, new, borrowed, or owned, this story is not just another love story. It is a story about love. So that was the intro. Sorry, allergy. So as you saw, the blurb steals a bit from the intro, but yeah. So now the first chapter is called Binary Oppositions. As the human brain seems to function within binary oppositions and systematic categories, we tend to label everything according to these binary oppositions set in our minds. Good versus evil, pretty versus ugly, bright versus dark, love versus sex. By labeling, we narrow these things down so we can get hold of them. But by doing so, we limit them. We don't allow them to expand to their full extent. Simple example. Take something you would label as a bad experience. You learned something from it, didn't you? It influenced you, had an impact on you, changed you, moved you, made you develop. So tell me, how bad was this experience when you can draw good conclusions from it? By labeling, we do not only limit, but we also degrade. Is this your boyfriend? Oh no, he's just a friend. Why do we say just a friend and degrade friendship as if what we call relationship was the ultimate sophistication to be achieved? Binary oppositions, again. This is the guy I'm dating. So is he becoming your next boyfriend? No. Ah, so you're just fuck buddies? Aha. It seems there is no way of loving someone and being close to someone when you're not in an official relationship, because apparently if you spend time with someone who's not your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're just fuck buddies. again, degradation is taking place. Either that person is the one you love or the one you fuck. Aha. Take a stamp, press it on, label it. We label relations, connections, and bonding, emotional human interaction like lipsticks. Red number 6, pink number 13, burgundy number 7. We label and limit love in our brains, obsessed with binary oppositions. The sad thing is that love becomes a lost lullaby when we label it like lipstick. Sorry, sometimes, even as an author and a reader, the words slip. So yeah, that was the first chapter. And they differ in length. Some of them are just like 1.5 pages, sometimes less, sometimes more. Sometimes they're just 1 page long, so it's very diverse. Most of them are quite short, I'd say. So you can always read them in between if you commute. So they're close to life and very good to be integrated into life, because if you take the bus for 20 minutes, you can read certain stories, or, you know. So I prepared another one, which is called A Borrowed Life. Have you ever seen a musician playing their instrument? Say, a violinist playing so passionately that not only the music itself, but his facial expression and the passion expressed through his body moves you, touches you? Well, I have seen many people, many different people in passionate moments. I saw musicians playing, dancers practicing their choreographies. I saw people kissing, crying, smiling through the tears. I saw you in a restaurant with her, talking, cards on the table. Within this heartfelt drama, your passion took over and you reached for her neck while she was talking and you kissed her, passionately. And I have seen her sitting at her desk, her laptop in front of her. She started writing and suddenly the keyboard became a piano, her head slightly tilting to the left, a facial expression between passion and pain. The corner of her mouth forming a little smile, yet her eyes filled with tears, her hands gently moving across the keyboard, the laptop becoming an instrument, her hands forming a melancholic melody on paper. I have been living a borrowed life. My life has never been my own. It was always about other people's happiness, never about my own. I always thought that once somebody liked or loved me, I'd have to like or love them back. Because I knew how it felt to be unhappy in love, so I wanted to avoid doing the same thing to them as was done to me. So I convinced myself to like them, to love them. And yes, you can convince yourself to have certain emotions until you nearly believe them yourself. But there will always remain this little spark, this little part inside of you that knows that it is not completely right, not fully correct, that it is not as authentic as it could have been if it were real. I have been so many different people in my life. That's why I'm a good, maybe even a great actress. It was never about me, it was about the others, so I slipped into the roles that contributed to their happiness. And they believed me, because I believed myself. But the truth sneaks up behind you and gets you in retrospect. And then you discover that the truth does not lie in retrospect, but that you already knew when you were in that particular situation. But you convinced yourself to believe differently. And then you discover, I have been living a borrowed life, a life that has never been my own. You turn around and you oppose yourself by saying, my life has always been my own, but I got lost along the road I went. And then you doubt, and then you get desperate, and then you lift your tear-filled eyes to the sky above, and you revolt and you rebel. And you promise yourself to go and get your life back, to not back down, to fight for your life, and to become better than you were before. But then there are these silent moments, these moments where you have a lump in your throat and you look into the mirror and your gleaming eyes show desperation, while your lips are forming a smile and you say, if this is what I'm meant to be, if this is why I'm here on earth, to contribute to the happiness of others and putting my own aside, I will pay the price. I will live a borrowed life in order to fulfill my destiny. If this is what it is, then let it be so. But I will reserve some parts for myself, some secrecy. But other than that, it's all right, if this is what I'm really here for. And you know that the only issue with these thoughts is that you just don't know. You just know whatever path it is that you have to take, you're going to take it, make it, be it borrowed, be it your own. You're not going to bend over or back down. You're going to slip into another role that somebody else or life itself wrote for you, and you're going to go with it. I'm not going to say that one day I will have to set you free, because you were never caged. But one day I might have to let you go. And I will, because this is love. And love is the only truth I know. The only truth that cannot be concealed with makeup or by imposing a role on it. This doesn't mean that I wouldn't fight, and it doesn't mean that I would resign over it. This just means that besides all the roles I played, all the lives I lived, and all the contributions I made, this will be a moment when I stick to the very truth that lies deep inside our hearts. I've been so many different people in my life. But for once you set me free, or rather you helped me set myself free, for once. For once there was no script, for once it was about me, and I appreciate that. I will always keep that beside the truth that is inscribed onto my heart. This little spark of truth that once was revealed to me shall accompany me on my way. For once I lived my life. For once it was mine. For once there was you. I have been so many different people in my life. I lived a borrowed life. Yeah, that was A Borrowed Life, a rather longish chapter from the book. As said, if you have any questions, let's try to see whether I can answer them in the chat box. If this live premiere doesn't work, feel free to DM me on Instagram, gina.laventura, or visit me on my website, ginalaventura.com. There you can contact me and ask questions about the book if you like to. I'm searching for the last bit that I would like to read to you. This is the shortest text in the whole book, and it's just a few lines long, and the reading will end with this text. It's called Paradox of Inscription. We are hesitant with tattoos as they might be forever or leave a scar when removed. But we let people enter our lives and we inscribe them or let them inscribe themselves onto our hearts. As if that wasn't forever. As if that didn't leave scars. How funny and paradoxical we are. Thank you for staying with me and for your time and your interest in this reading. I'm gonna say it once more, the book is called Labeled Love. You can get it on Amazon, you can purchase it worldwide. And if you purchase this book, 1 copy, 2 copies, 3 copies, how many copies you ever want, until the 10th of May, all of my royalties will be donated to a local animal shelter to help them through this difficult time of Corona crisis. So you're doing something good. So it's like reading for a good cause, kind of. I hope you enjoyed it. As said, feel free to ask questions in English or German. I speak more languages than that, but these are the easiest ones to answer in. So feel free if you have any questions. And as said, if there's anything else that you would like to know, feel free to follow me on Instagram, visit my website, and please share the message. I would really appreciate that, so that we can together raise enough money to donate. I'm going to switch over to German and then come back to English again. Ja, das war also die kleine Lesung aus diesem wundervollen Buch. Ich sage es gerne nochmal. Es heißt Labeled Love, ist auf Amazon erhältlich. Es kann weltweit gekauft werden, als Kindle-Edition oder als wunderbares Taschenbuch. Und wenn euch der Auszug jetzt gefallen hat und ihr gerne wissen möchtet, was für Geschichten sich sonst noch so darin verbergen, wenn ihr bis zum 10. Mai eine Ausgabe oder auch mehrere kauft, dann tut ihr was Gutes damit, weil alle meine Einnahmen an das Tierheim gespendet werden. Also lest ihr quasi für einen guten Zweck. Und ich würde mich freuen, wenn ihr das auch teilt und anderen Leuten mitteilt, die vielleicht Interesse daran haben könnten. Und ihr könnt natürlich auch den Link zu diesem Video hier teilen, denn auch nach der Live-Premiere wird das ja online bleiben. Dann kriegt man einen kleinen Eindruck und kann sich dann entscheiden. Ich gehe jetzt noch ein einziges Mal zurück zu Englisch und komme dann nochmal zurück zu Deutsch und sage noch was zu meinem zweiten Buch. So back to English. That was my first book, Baby, as said, published in 2014. The book that I'm working on currently is also English, and it's also short texts, short prose, but this time the short stories are not interconnected, and there is also poetry in it. So it's a mixture of poetry and prose. It has actually nothing to do with labeled love. Like, the topic is completely different. The structure is different. What they do have in common is that they're all short texts, but this time there will be poetry and prose. The topic will be different. It's also a project that is really, really dear to my heart, and Labeled Love, I often get asked, well, is there a German version of Labeled Love, or will there be a German version? The answer is no. Labeled Love was never intended to be translated. I tried it, but many of the artistic, like the word artistic parts, do not work in German. So I gave up on that. The second book will come out in English first, and then there will be a German version of it, which is not a one-to-one translation, because the poems, for instance, will not be translated word by word. But the upcoming book will be available in English first, and then later there will be a German version. And I hope you stay tuned, and maybe you got interested now what it's gonna be about. And yeah, I would love if you follow me on my journey. And yeah, please share. You can also share the link from this video, because even after the live premiere is over, the video is still available. So if you think that someone might be interested, you can give them a little insight by sharing this video, so they get an impression of what kind of stories are contained in the first book. And also I would love to share my journey with you, and to have you by my side until and even after the publication of the second book. It's a project that's really dear to my heart, and I hope you stay tuned with me, and I hope you enjoyed this. As said, feel free to ask me some questions. I hope I can answer them, and thank you for your time, and I hope to see you soon. So, auch nochmal auf Deutsch. Das war das erste Buch Baby, und das zweite, an dem ich jetzt gerade arbeite, das wird auch wieder auf Englisch sein, zumindest die erste Version. Und es hat thematisch gesehen gar nichts mit Label Love zu tun. Was sie, also was gleich ist, es sind auch wieder Kurztexte, also es werden wieder Kurzgeschichten sein. Diesmal werden die aber nicht miteinander so verbunden sein, wie das hier der Fall ist. Und es wird Gedichte dazu geben. Also es ist ein Mix aus Kurzgeschichten und Gedichten. Das macht schon mal ein bisschen anders. Wie gesagt, thematisch ist es was komplett anderes. Es ist allerdings ein Herzensprojekt von mir. Es liegt mir sehr, sehr am Herzen, und ich hoffe, ihr begleitet mich weiter auf meiner Reise, und vielleicht seid ihr jetzt auch ein bisschen neugierig und gespannt, was da so auf euch zukommt. Ganz häufig werde ich gefragt, gibt es eine deutsche Version von Labeled Love oder wird es eine geben? Und die Antwort ist nein. Labeled Love war nie intendiert dazu, ins Deutsche übersetzt zu werden. Ich habe es tatsächlich versucht, aber viel der Wortkunst, die hier in Englisch drin ist, kriege ich nicht auf Deutsch übersetzt. Deswegen habe ich das dann irgendwann sein gelassen, weil das nicht das Level meiner Zufriedenheit erreicht hat. Weil das auch nie dazu intendiert war. Das nächste Buch wird es tatsächlich auf Englisch und auf Deutsch geben, wobei die englische Version zuerst rauskommt. Und später wird es dann eine deutsche Version geben. Ich sage mit Absicht deutsche Version und nicht Übersetzung, weil es keine 1:1 Übersetzung sein wird. Weil vor allem die Gedichte werde ich nicht 1:1 übersetzen. Deswegen kann man nicht sagen, das ist eine Übersetzung der englischen Version, sondern es gibt eine englische Version und es gibt eine deutsche Version. Ja, und wie gesagt, ich würde mich freuen, wenn ich meine Reise weiter mit euch teilen kann und ihr mich weiter begleitet bis zur Publikation und natürlich auch darüber hinaus. Wie gesagt, wenn ihr denkt, dass ihr jemanden kennt, den das interessieren könnte, teilt gerne die Nachricht, auch dass die Spendenaktion bis zum 10.05. läuft, und teilt auch gerne dieses Video. Das wird ja auch nach der Live-Premiere noch online bleiben. Wenn sich jemand einen Eindruck von diesem Buch oder auch von dem, was ich über das zweite jetzt gesagt habe, machen möchte, würde ich mich sehr freuen. Und ja, ich danke euch für eure Zeit, und ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen, und ja, begleitet mich gerne auf Instagram oder besucht mich in meinem virtuellen Wohnzimmer auf ginalaventura.com. Dort blogge ich auch zweisprachig, genauso wie dieses Video zweisprachig war, findet ihr da eigentlich fast alles auch auf Deutsch. Ja, dann wünsche ich euch jetzt noch einen schönen Abend, genießt es. Und wenn ihr noch Fragen habt, ihr wisst Bescheid, wo ihr mich findet, meldet euch. Tschüss!